He has been known as the Shape. He's been known as the Evil on Two Legs, but we know him as the Boogeyman.
He's gonna get you. 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 The boogeyman is coming.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
This is Legacy of the Boogeyman, a retrospective, if you will, of Michael Myers in his film series Halloween. And I'm excited to get into it. We're starting with the original 1978 Halloween. We are your hosts. I'm Zach. That's Jim.
I thought we were going to talk about me based off that intro.
No, you're the evil on three legs.
Oh, okay.
There it is. Yeah, so I got a hair up my butt about doing this. And mostly because if you've seen or heard anything from the Death Curse Club, I had a show called Core Memory Unlocked Horror. We covered a lot of horror on that, Jason, Freddy, and such. And I wanted to do Halloween. But Halloween is a lot different for me than just Core Memory Unlocked. Like Halloween is my bread and butter. It's what really got me into horror. Like you see the Michael Myers popcorn bucket there. You see my Halloween Horror Nights shirt. I got my Halloween Horror Nights glass full of Dark and Gordy from Athletic Brewing. But this one to me is my alma mater of horror, as we will. And I wanted Jim specifically on at least this one, possibly the next one, and a couple of more down the street. I do have other guests that I'm bringing on that are fans of certain ones, but like Jim, you don't come off to me as a Halloween guy. Am I wrong in saying that?
You're right and wrong.
Okay.
I like certain entries, but as a franchise as a whole, no, it's not one of
Right.
my favorites.
Right. Thankfully enough, we're just talking about 1978 Halloween today. So hopefully that's in the good camp. And I myself look at some entries in this series as not my fave. And there are ones that are deemed bad to the public, which I love. And I can't wait to get into those. But for me, with this series, interestingly enough, compared to the other ones, compared to Jason, compared to Freddy, there's always some kind of hiccup that comes with those franchises where Michael has been on a steady course. It has been we are going to make a Michael Myers film somehow, some way, even through the years of like Dimension. And you may or may not like those entries, but they did not pivot the series into straight to DVD like Hellraiser did through Dimension or From Dusk Till Dawn through Dimension. It was able to get out of that and kind of head back to a prestige level of a horror series through Blumhouse and Universal, getting back there. But this entire journey for me, I'm excited to talk about, honestly, because again, I think there's something about Michael Myers. People may currently just be, I don't want to say tired of him. I don't want to say like he's just watered down now, but like we've gotten so much of him while the others have been at rest
Hmm.
that I do feel that is weighing heavy on the brand. But that being said, I still think Michael Myers, the Boogeyman, is still well alive and well. So let's talk this 1978 film, Halloween. the description of the film on IMDb: 15 years after murdering his sister on Halloween night in 1963, Michael Myers escapes from a mental hospital and returns to the small town of Haddonfield, Illinois to kill again. And it is 63. Yes, it is 63. It's the simplest of plots, and like I think that is one of the endearing things of it is, you know, the way this movie begins, where we're in the POV style of the kill. And again, with this being my entry, there are aspects to this that I kind of take for granted. Like for this to be my real first horror movie, you know, I love Ghostbusters, I love Beetlejuice. Those are all gateways where
Hmm.
this is the first thing to like, I was entranced by everything about it. So, with the beginning of this movie being in a POV and we're watching the stalker look at this house that has two teenagers and, you know, they get it on in 5 seconds. I mean, shortest time runtime in sex I've ever seen.
They're teenagers. Can't
He
last too long.
absolutely right, and he was in and out. He was gone, baby. And like, you know, the stalker goes in, grabs a knife, and like it looks offbeat because like you see the clown material,
Hmm.
and it's like, what is this? And then gets upstairs, puts on the mask, and goes in where this young lady is naked, brushing her hair, turns around, says, Michael. So automatically knows this person, goes to Knifetown, USA, runs down, car pulls up, um, two people come out, and again, Michael, take off the mask. Now we see the person, and it's a kid. And the reason why I'm saying I take it for granted, and literally it took me watching it today to really grasp that, is like, how many horror movies came before this that the killer was POV? It makes me think of, you know, Black Christmas probably used a lot of that, which was pre this.
Hmm.
And, you know, I I wonder, I have to assume that like the reveal of it being a child is kind of jaw dropping, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, nothing else, none of the other, especially the big franchises, did anything like that. I
Right.
mean, even Friday 13th 2 years later, I mean, they did a little bit of that POV in the opening sequence, but you don't have any sort of reveal. It just kind of was like, yep, we killed some people. All right, moving on. And that the POV stuff also is very heavy in Italy and the Italian
Mm,
horror sector when you're looking at the Gallo.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a strong opening. I mean, that's the thing about Halloween. It's gonna hold up. It's still great. I mean, even though I said it's not my favorite franchise, I think it is the better of the part ones.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you say about the entries later are exactly what they are. I mean, not to say diminishing returns, but that's what it's going to be. You're in now a evolving series that has got less to do with its original than where it
Hmm.
does in whatever recent entry. I completely get it. But even with this film, from there, you know, this film, and I'm braggy because I do have the 4K of it, like there is such a filmmaking quality to this. This isn't just, hey, let's make a buck. Like, this was a scenario of John Carpenter wants to make a movie, and he's been gifted this idea of Halloween where he wanted to do the babysitter murders. And so him and Deborah Hill write this movie in, I want to say, 10 days time. They shoot the movie 3 weeks. But when I watch this movie, this independent film is the crux for everything I grow up on. You know what I mean? Like, I never looked at it as just a horror movie. I truly looked at it as independent filmmaking to get something done. you do it yourself. And the things I do love are like that. It goes from the 90s to Kevin Smith with Clerks, all the way to today with Obsession, where I even compared Obsession to this. And they do have a lot of mirroring effects of like both low budget, both under $1 million to make, both gross hell a lot. Like Obsession grossed way more. I think Halloween grosses 54 million, but like in 78, when this comes out, making 50 million, that's a big chunk of change.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a ton of money. I mean, like you said, it's very and it has that independent feel. It feels like an artist made it.
yeah.
And that's why it holds up after all these years, nearly 50 years, and it still holds up. And that's where you can see some of those comparisons. You know, you brought up Obsession, and because it's a well-made movie, it's got a score, it's got,
Mhm.
the acting is solid, even in Halloween. And that makes you wonder, like, if Halloween was released today and not in 1978, would it be getting that award season talk? Would the score be
Right,
nominated for an Oscar?
right.
And I think it's a strong possibility that it could have been.
I definitely think definitely the 78 like version, the style, if John Carpenter was a filmmaker today, absolutely. Because when not to compare it to 2018 or even Rob Zombie's, like those are still sequels that are predicated on this original where they're borrowing some
Hmm.
things. So like if the series never existed and that was a possibility, boy oh boy, that is a crazy idea to think about of maybe there is talk of Oscars because horror is way more accepted now than it was back then. Now, granted, you know, I think if made today, I think trauma would play a heavier role in its storytelling. But that being said, that's a great
But
point.
that's what people didn't like about the Rob Zombie one. I mean, I know we're
Yes.
getting off kilter,
Ah,
but
that's
that was because he introduced trauma, and that's again, that's a whole other discussion.
yeah.
But I think
Maybe I'll do a 3-person for the
one of the things
Halloween.
that people really like about Michael Myers in the first movie is that there is no real explanation. He is just this shark, he's just on a mission to kill, and that's it. There's no explanation, there's no reason. That's all he is.
It's wild to me that you brought that up because, again, viewing this today, one of my big takeaways was like, this movie has so much akin to Jaws than it has a right to. And specifically, it came to me when I was watching when the Laurie, Annie, and God, what Linda are walking down the street.
Hmm.
Is it Linda or Lindsay? No, it's not Lindsay.
Linda, I think.
Lindsay, yeah, Lindsay is the kid. That's right. So like they're walking down the street and Michael is coming driving the car. But when he shows up, the music softly comes in to his theme, rolling up on him, looking at them, and then Annie yells out, "Hey jerk, speed kills," and he just fucking gnarly stop. And I can only imagine of like, holy yes, what's about to happen if I was in that theater at that time, not knowing what Halloween is. And then like once we get a few beats done, the car starts moving again, and when it turns the corner, the theme song softly goes away. And it immediately, watching that scene, made me think of the two fishermen that were on the dock in
Hmm.
Jaws. And when the shark grabs, like the dock pulls it in, and like the theme song's going, and it's kind of getting softer. And then when it turns around, it gets louder again because the shark's on the move. So it's for me watching those two scenes, this thing is exactly that. Michael Myers, the shape, the boogeyman, is a shark just for killing, but I don't think just for killing. And we'll get that in the kills in a second, but I do got to talk about the actors of this, like Dr. Loomis, Donald Pleasance. He carries such an enormous weight of what Michael is, like the Quint in Jaws.
Hmm.
But I think the difference between Quint and Dr. Loomis is like Quint tells the one scene in Jaws of like what happened on the Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Loomis, through this entire film, is doing this. Like, I've had 15 years with this kid, and just looking at him, I can gauge that this isn't right. This is pure evil. This is Satan. Like, dogs, what are we doing? And I think because of him in this, that's what, not really a backstory outside of the murders, but like, that's all we needed in this, is to get that
Yeah.
level of the weight of Michael.
Yeah, because it's putting more fear into the viewer, because it's
Hmm.
saying like, hey, this guy is a serious threat. This is a really problem.
Hmm.
This movie doesn't work without that character.
No, no,
I
I
mean, you
think.
need him there to, I mean, he explains just enough
Hmm.
to help you follow like the beats that were in the middle, the stuff we missed in between the opening scene and where the movie takes place.
Right,
Just enough to explain to say, hey, hey, this guy's nuts, and
right,
for no reason other than just he's that's what he wants to do.
right. And then you get the kids. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode is phenomenal. I do have some beef with, like, I do think Laurie is a top tier final girl. I do.
Hmm.
Brooke is going to have problems. Like I said, when I get her into, she hates Jamie Lee in this movie. She just hates Laurie because of like how much running she's doing, how much crying she's doing. But to me, that's the sympathy that we gauge for her. That's what
Right.
like draws us in, of like, God, I hope this girl doesn't get it. But like, the aspect of, oh, a final girl doesn't do this, doesn't Laurie, all she wants to do is fuck Ben Tramer. All Laurie wants to do is smoke pot with Annie in that car. And like, as much as I do love her as a final girl, and looking at it now, like all those tropes, she breaks. She truly would break the Ben Tramer thing if he was there. And she did do drugs. So like, it's wild to me that the the telephone hand me down, a final girl, stems from her, in my opinion, but then it's diluted. Her own character gets diluted through the telephone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, she's very much like the 70s version of the girl next door,
Yeah.
She does come across as very innocent, but she does do some stuff on her side, or she would like to, or whatever. She's not as wild as her friends
Right.
necessarily,
Yes.
but
Total.
but she's totally, but she's
Totally.
but she's she still wants to have fun, but she is very innocent and she's not much of a fighter at that point, I
Hmm.
mean, she's just trying to keep the kids alive and try to keep herself alive, and that's it. I mean, it involves later on. I mean, nowadays, yes, nowadays your final girl has to fight back. Because that's the
Yeah.
world we live in now.
Right.
Like, I mean, women are strong, women can fight, women can do these things. And so
100%.
if you had the Laurie Strode of that movie in a movie now, like she's not living.
Right. And I'll get to it eventually in the series with Lori, of like how she does eventually become that. And I think that's a strong take. And that shows the evolution of all this. I do like the side characters. I do like Linda and Annie. I think they're perfect friends. And you do feel when Michael does get them, when they get got. And the thing about this movie, especially Bob, fuck Bob. I mean, also Bob talking about Lindsay. Bob, come on, dog. I know it's the 70s, but what are we doing? Well, don't talk about Lindsay that way. You can talk about Lindsay today on The Real Housewives. That's fine. But don't talk about Lindsay that way then. um,
I mean,
what?
unless you're Eli Ross, then he'll
Yeah,
still do it now.
yeah, that's true. Um, I love there's not a lot of blood. Like,
Yeah.
if you didn't tell someone, like, you're going to get no gore. I do still think that the kills are impactful. Like, Annie getting choked out in the car, that fucking sucks. Bob getting stuck to the wall, Linda getting fucking choked by telephone cord.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's some off-screen kills that we don't see. It's fascinating to me that, like, this is quintessential slasher, ain't a lot of gore.
No, and what's funny is like you could probably show somebody this movie and watch it, and then at the end of it say, "Hey, did you realize there's not much gore?" And they probably didn't even notice as they were watching it. They probably thought it was gory as hell at the time because you feel like it's there, even though you're not seeing it.
Right.
Like, it feels violent, it feels intense, but I also think that's also one of the reasons why it holds up so well because there's no effects to um, degrade over time to look at and be like, oh, that looks cheap now or this looks bad
Right.
now.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you skip all of that. You're able to avoid all of that 50 years later.
What a fantastic way to put that. And I never even thought of that for a second of like, this thing becomes timeless because there is no judgment on special effects. I love Tom Savini. I love his work in Friday the 13th. It's gnarly shit that you see, but you're absolutely right. If you look at it, you're like, what's happening there? Like, I can tell that's a remote control head sliding down the machete or whatever.
Hmm.
You're absolutely right. Um, the other thing about the kills after the fact, and this is what I was talking about earlier about Michael, is about being the shark. He's a fucking trickster. Like, his entire goal of this movie was Laurie Strode, because at the beginning, Laurie is told by her dad, hey, drop this key off at the old Myers
Hmm.
house. When she gets there, Michael's in there and immediately becomes fucking attached to her, following her to school, stalking her outside of there. When she gets home, he's down by the laundry, looking at her from up. Like, he is infatuated with her. And at that moment, everything has fucking changed. When he's killed everyone, and I guess, it goes with trick or treat, it's like he sets all these people up to fuck with her when she's on the run. So, like, when she goes and she sees Annie on the bed because he's gone to the graveyard to get his sister's tombstone because it's bulking season and he could just rip it out of the ground because he's a monster, he's the devil. Annie's set up in the bed, oh, like, pretty, you know what I mean? And like, Laurie freaks out. Then I think it's, yeah, the cupboard opens and you just see Linda
Hmm.
there. Then Bob falls from the top. Like, Michael has set, and you see it through the movie, him like carrying bodies and stuff. Like, there's something even worse than just being a shark mentally for him to want to execute these kind of things. Even when he's going to kill Linda earlier, like, he's dressed as Bob. He's wearing a ghost sheet with his
Hmm.
glasses. This motherfucker is funny. Like, he's a fucking funny dude. What are we talking about? He's never said a joke in his life, but he is absolutely killing it on I Got You. Like,
Yeah, it's
what's your
interesting because you
takeaway?
gotta wonder like why does he do it like that? I mean,
Mhm,
is he having fun or is it uh just some sort of weird trend that he does? I mean,
mhm.
serial killers do all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, they all have their own little trends that they do and they all take their little trophies and so it you know he sets up a shrine. I mean, I kind of
Right.
see that as like a bit of a shrine, obviously.
Yes.
As far as why does he just choose to put on the ghost costume with the glasses? Man, I don't really know why he chooses to do that, other than maybe he's like, hey, maybe he just wanted to see get a flash before he
He was,
kills her.
that's a fair point because when Annie dumps whatever from cooking, what, like, she dumps a bunch of shit on her outfit, she starts taking it off. And during the stalking moments, which I like, again, it's funny how much I have to remember this is before Friday the 13th or
Hmm.
any of these other POV stalking, because, like, In Friday the 13th, it's POV the entire time till Betsy Palmer at the end. Spoilers for Friday the 13th if you haven't seen it. But in this movie, the POV is just at the beginning, and then it turns into his side of his shoulder looking on, the side of his mask looking on. So when he's looking at Annie, he's outside. She's taking off all her clothes. She's shirts off, pants off, like she's done it. And there's a moment where Michael kind of inches forward and then it hits a plant, drops, and he like skedaddles. There's something sexual going on here. There's no doubt. I do not think that was like him just messing up to mess up.
Yeah.
I think there's something about the beginning of the movie. He's
Yeah.
seeing his sister have sex, and when he kills her, she's naked. Annie's getting him hot and bothered. Shrine set up. Like, there is a bit to me that's like, oh, he wants Laurie to be his girlfriend.
I mean, he's been locked up since he was a kid through his teen years. I mean, he's got a lot of pent up juices. He's ready to go.
That's right.
So yeah, there is probably some sort of psychosexual um, motivation in there as well.
Yeah, has to. Through the entire movie, Loomis is trying to find him, and again, he's giving just exposition after exposition about who he is when they go to the Myers house, and he's waiting outside for him, and he finally sees the stolen car that Michael got at the beginning, which, by the way, that beginning of that movie, that's when I knew this movie was fucked up. You know how I talk about Hellraiser, of like how
Mhm.
that really screwed with me? This is the scene that screwed with me watching it as a younger man, because, and by younger man I mean a boy, because as a man this would not have done what it did to me. But like when Loomis is talking to the nurse taking him to go get Michael, like it's dark, it looks unsettling, and when they pull up to the hospital and you just get the barely light of all the inmates walking
Mhm.
around, freaked me out to no end. Like, it's unsettling how that is all framed and how it looks. And when Michael just jumps on top of the vehicle, smashes through, and drives away, all effed me up. So much so, avid Halloween Horror Nights guy. And I remember the first house, they've done two versions of Halloween. The first version, really good. I mean, fucking almost would be my favorite house of all time. And then the second one is mind-boggling better. I don't know how you can even make that possible, but it was because they took scenes legitimately outside of just at the houses, and they did the
Mhm.
inmate scene, and it messed me up going through that house. Like, I wasn't prepared to see like the vehicle with the fence, Michael with no mask or whatever jumping out at you. Like, all left me up. So for me, that's what got me. Was there any scenes for you that got you?
Not that I remember specifically. I would have been probably in my early mid-teens when I first saw this movie, more than
Yeah,
likely.
same.
Because that's when I started getting into the genre and just movies heavily and started going down like the
Yeah,
franchises and director rabbit holes and all that kind of stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. So by the end of the movie, after Loomis has done his talk about Michael, he finds, Laurie's been on the run from him, enters the house. Laurie and him have the struggle. The mask finally comes off, and you get like this weird face, like something's wrong with his eye,
Hmm.
which will never get explained. Um, and then puts back on the mask, boom, 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 six figs. Dr. Loomis shoots Michael outside of the house. Like, he shot him six times. Six times he shot him. And Laurie goes, that was the boogeyman, wasn't it? And he was like, as a matter of fact, it was. And he walks the edge to see him laying there, and he is not. He is up and running, all cylinders. And like, if this was a one and done movie, wow, what an ending. Like, to end it with you can't kill the boogeyman is fucking paralyzing fear. And funny enough, when you look at Obsession. When I watched Obsession, one of the things that I took away, and I think a lot of people thought this, just to bring this up, is like it felt like a longer, real fucked up Tales from the Crypt episode.
Mm.
And now I can watch this movie. If I leave everything aside and just focus on this one movie, I completely understand why John Carpenter was going for an anthology with Halloween. Like, that's how an anthology would end. Like, the Boogeyman is
Yeah.
still out there kind of vibe.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's still out there doing his thing. I mean, he never really thought there was a reason to do another one. I mean,
Right.
just like because you know what happens when you start doing these things over and over again. Even
You
back
get the
then, I mean,
series. You
you
get
you
the series
and
we
they
got.
yeah, and there really wasn't even like that wasn't even really a thing back then. I mean, there weren't
Mhm.
really big horror franchises yet.
Mm-mm.
You know, nobody was doing twos and threes and fours and all that yet.
Right.
But I think he knew that like he just there was no place to take the story. He told the story he wanted to tell, but it's a strong ending. They
Mhm.
just having him gone. They avoided that last second jump scare that had already become a thing. You
Right.
know, going to start. I mean, Carrie was 76, I think.
Mhm.
So the last second jump scare was already a thing, but he didn't do that. He said, nope, I'm just gonna have him gone.
And that's honestly, that's the big tension. I know we just
Yeah,
keep going back with the same things, but like Jaws made people scared of water for a reason. And I think the end of this movie made you scared to go home
yeah. And this
because
is
this
also the
takes place
suburbs.
in exactly. This took place in suburbs. You saw this in theater. You slept with every light on when you got home.
Yeah. Yeah, this wasn't something that took place, you know, in the city or out in the countryside somewhere, or deep the desert, the woods. I mean, that's usually where a lot of these horror movies took place back then.
Isolation. Right.
Yeah, isolation. So the fact that this took place just in the suburbs, I mean, it could have been next door while you were sleeping that night. Your neighbors could have been getting murdered. You didn't know, that's what
Right.
this movie did to people.
100%. And what's also to tack on to this, because eventually there is a sequel, and don't worry, the next one, next Saturday's episode is Halloween too. But what's interesting is because this movie goes on, makes a buttload of money, and a sequel is eventually made. He figures out how he wants to go at it. But what was crazy, and especially because you have to look at it as a time capsule, the next one comes out. This was 78. I think the next one's 81.
Yeah, I believe so.
That same year, yes, that same year on October 30th, NBC shows this on TV for the first time. Now, it's cut down because they can't
Hmm.
show boobies. We can't show the kills and stuff like that, or at least too grotesque, even at that time, too grotesque. Um, So during Halloween 2, John Carpenter films extra scenes to make up for those lost times. And I even take this for granted when I feel like every DVD version I've owned of this, DVD, Blu ray, 4K, all
Hmm.
this has a TV version of the movie on the bonus disc. And it's crazy to me to think of like, obviously it was only done to set you up better to watch Halloween 2
Yeah.
because of what happens in this, which does dilute it a little bit, obviously, and we'll talk it Halloween 2 when it comes. But I am so fascinated with the fact of like once this thing got on TV, it was like we gave a whole monologue, new monologue for Loomis, which he looks different, which was funny. There's a scene of Jamie Lee and I think Linda, and Jamie Lee has to wear a wig because she has short hair. Which during Halloween too, she's wearing a wig as well. And then you get the big reveal of what Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode is to Michael in this. So I wonder if there were people that just watched it on TV and decided to go see it or wait till video
Mm.
or whatever, like their entire encounter, fuck it, we're gonna have to talk about their entire encounter of Halloween. Laurie has been Michael's sister. And that's fucking perplexing to me. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think unless you saw it originally in 1978, that's probably where your head is at for the most part, because that's
mhm,
what you were told for 10 years or
right.
15 years, whatever it was that the original series ran.
Well, even
20 years.
yeah, I was about to say 20 years later. I mean,
Yeah,
this
H2O, yeah.
he goes, she is his sister up until 2002 Resurrection.
I mean, even
Oh
beyond
no,
that, because Rob Zombie.
I guess Rob's too. So that's 2009 is H2. So you're talking it practically goes 30 years
Yeah,
until 2018. That's
yeah.
crazy to me, dog. That's crazy. And like I sit here and I go, and you know, I think I'd rather no sister.
Oh, I definitely would rather know Sister. I was
Yeah,
never a big fan of that
I,
decision.
I know it kills the majority of this property in some way. Like Rob Zombie's one still lives on its own, even if Angel wasn't her.
But
But
I'm finally, I'm more accepting of it. I think, man, we're all over the place. But I'm more accepting of it in the Rob Zombie version than I am in the
oh,
Jamie Lee
100%.
Curtis aspect.
Well, now is that because through the process of watching the years, is it because John Carpenter himself is like, yeah, I was drunk as shit and I just wanted to copy Star Wars? Like I had no real idea. It knowing that is the basis of this. Is that the reason why it hurts that part of the franchise where Rob Zombie, who only knows this as well, was like, okay, he had a schlocky way of making it. I'm going to make it work though. And I agree with you. Now sitting here, it works better with Rob's.
I think for me, it probably works better because it's introduced immediately
Mm-hmm.
that this is the family, this is how it is, and it's not something that we learn later on. Like it's just
Right,
it's from the very beginning. It's this is who she is.
right,
Where if you watch the original Halloween, there's outside of the TV stuff, like if you watch the original Halloween, it's not implied, it's not said, it feels random, and it's much scarier when it's random. I
right,
think it takes away from it by making it her by later on saying, well, she's his sister, and that's why he's coming after her. I think it takes
right.
away some of that.
No, that's fair. That's very fair. Um, yeah, I just I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut that. Try to remember this at 37 minutes. I love this movie to no end, even know about this cuts and stuff. But as this movie, as Halloween, I think you said it earlier, and I'm kind of piggybacking, but I'm just even going more so of like in any franchise, horror or not, there's a lot of people that go the original is the best. And I think a lot of us go, yeah, but this entry's my favorite. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Nightmare on Elm Street 3 or Wes Craven's New Nightmare. That's my favorite. Or Jason X or Jason Lives. That's my favorite. Like when you go that route with a lot of movies, this is the only one that I know of where this original movie is hands down the best of the series.
Yeah, completely. There's no, I mean, like I said, it's not only the best of the series, it's the best first entry of any horror franchise.
Yeah, we're literally 2 years away from it turning 50.
Yeah.
50 years old. And kind of why I wanted to do this now because if the channel's still going, then if we're not all dead, um I'm going to like have big fun times with the number 50 in this movie, this soul movie. And like even this year we get to kind of expand it with the video game,
Mhm.
which I'm totally excited about.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to psychosexually stalking you throughout the game.
Oh, hell yeah. I can't wait till like I'm a character and I take off my clothes and just bumbling idiot Michael Myers is just hitting everything, trying to get me. How about yeah, no, it's just I don't know, like I'm trying to be cool because I know it's like expanding the lore of this first movie. But I think they're going to do it in such a way where all of it fits. Like it's not going to hurt the original. It's not
No.
going to do any of that how a lot of people take it because I have seen discourse of like Michael would kill that way. Michael's just flipping the knife and it's like, bruh, it's a video game.
Right.
It's fine. It doesn't have to be exact, but I do feel as well it's going to make Michael feel more evil than ever. And it works with this movie. So,
Yeah, it's not going to affect the movie one way or another. It's the game. It's completely different.
right,
Who cares? It's not going to
right.
ruin your childhood.
Nope. Nope. Just going to keep it going. It's going to keep this movie's legacy going. The legacy of the Boogeyman. I had a great time talking about this. I appreciate this, Jim. This was exactly what I needed. So, next week, we'll get more into that TV movie of what was said because Halloween 2 is around the corner. The night, more from the night that he came home. Also, we didn't get into that. What an awesome poster.
Yep.
What an awesome poster for this one with the hand and the pumpkin and how it like went with the knife and then it looks like the knuckles are screaming like that's what movies are missing, bruh. That's what
Yeah.
AI can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Montages of just character faces slapped on a poster now.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, fuck. We can't even leave on this. So look, we talked 40 minutes of this. We did the score, John Carpenter's
Yeah, we
score.
didn't. Yeah. It's a
Like
character in itself.
it is a character in itself, and it's amazing because I know everybody who was watching or listening to this was like, I can't believe these motherfuckers ain't gonna talk music. The craziest part about the music for me is that so many movies have themes to it. I don't know if I've seen a movie have several different themes, like Laurie's theme, the Shapes
Hmm.
theme, Loomis, what there's different elements that are used throughout this movie, song wise, that are completely different from each other, but all fit into one cohesive score.
Yeah.
And like it plays such a pivotal role. So much so, I think, I mean, I've heard that like when he screened this originally with no music, didn't scare a fucking soul.
Right.
It was just a movie, which probably a good movie. But the music
Yeah.
added on to this, that immediate stinger when the lights go out at the beginning, I bet everybody jumped out of their fucking seats in that theater.
Yeah, because a lot of the tension building comes from the music. I mean, it's an iconic, the main theme is iconic to the point where I would say it's the most well-known um,
Mm-hmm.
genre theme.
Mm-hmm.
Even people who don't watch these movies probably know what this song, what this music is from. And I would
Yes.
say even in film as a whole, it's got to be at least in the top 15 or 20, I would say, if not higher,
I
of well-known themes.
Yes. Oh, well-known themes. Absolutely. Like it goes Star Trek, Star Wars, Beverly Hills Cop, this. Like Indiana Jones,
Jaws.
Jaws, anything that anything that fucking guy John Williams has ever done is in the books in this John Carpenter thing. Like and the fact that it was John Carpenter that made it is amazing. And like how he explains it, how simple it is.
Mhm.
But sometimes, man, simple is the best because this fucking there's no better theme specifically for a horror guy out there. I love Jason's Kill 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 Ma. I love Harry Manfredini's score to that. I think that is second to even like Freddy. Freddy only has like one, two, Freddy's coming for you. Like, but this movie is just so fucking thick and rich of this theme music. And it just like the movie itself, it's timeless.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel of a period. And I'll get to it once I talk 2018. I think they were able to take it in 2018 and like even fucking amp it up more. So like crazy, crazy. But what say you fine folks out there? What do you think of Halloween? Are you a huge fan of Michael Myers? Are you not? Are we just we're blowing this movie to kingdom come? I don't know. I think this is the hardest movie to argue of being one of the greatest. So it's like if you can do a Mount Rushmore, not necessarily your favorite. That's not what I'm saying, but
Mhm.
like when I think horror movie, I think of things like Psycho, Halloween, um, Scary Movie 6. But no, like if I had to
Yeah.
think of two first entries, Psycho and this to me are definitely two of the what? Four?
Yeah. And I mean, I know you're not a big fan, but I think you got to put Chainsaw on there. I mean, it's in the American
Yeah.
registry. It's considered an American classic at this point.
Yeah, no, not like well, that's what came first, Black Christmas or Chainsaw? I want to say Black Christmas.
I want to say Black Christmas.
I want to as well. And I think both of the like Black Christmas is what it is, but there is something highly disturbing about fucking Texas Chainsaw. And I still think that movie's more tame than anything today. So what say you guys out there? Like I said, what do you think of Halloween? What do you think about the boogeyman himself? Let us know in the comments, and we will be back next week for Halloween 2 as this 12-week journey continues. Till then, don't look in the shadows. Don't fucking do it. He's coming to get you. And I mean Jim, because he's waiting for you to take off your clothes so he can fucking bubble into something. Bye.